You've likely heard the Erik Spoelstra story. He started in a windowless Miami Heat video room and worked so hard he eventually became head coach. He was the first Asian American coach in any of the 4 major U.S. sports. He won back-to-back rings with superstars and made 2 final appearances without superstars. He took an 8th seed to the finals. He's elite, officially one of the 15 all-time greatest coaches in NBA history. But hang on. Let's back up to that back-to-back rings with superstars bit, because that wasn't always a feather in his cap. I mean, I'm sure he liked it, but coaching superstars can put you in a tight spot. You're either incompetent or lucky. Or, in Erik Spoelstra's case, both. When Erik Spoelstra became the Heat head coach in April 2008, nobody really knew him. Maybe people had glimpsed him on the sideline as an assistant coach. Maybe. But Spoelstra still had an instant identity upon his appointment. Pat Riley's guy. Pat Riley is beloved in Miami. He brought him a title in '06. But after an injury-dictated dismal '08 run, Riley decided it was time to step back and just be president of the Heat. He handpicked his successor, expressing complete faith in the heretofore unknown assistant coach. There was some gentle skepticism towards Spoelstra. He was young, he never played in the NBA, could he really be an authority figure? But this was by no means an indictment or a "we don't want him" type reaction. The overall reception was open and positive. I mean, the Heat won 15 games the previous season, the stakes were low. So sure, see what the new guy can do. Heat star Dwyane Wade liked him. And it certainly didn't hurt that he was endorsed by Pat Riley. It's gotta be pretty good if Miami's favorite coach and person liked him. Plus, Riley's still president, he can help Spoelstra. Or call all the shots from behind the scenes. Or step in and take over, like he did in the '05-06 season after Stan Van Gundy wasn't getting the job done. And that year ended with a championship. Just saying. So Spoelstra was accepted. But being Riley's guy had a downside too. After a year at the helm, articles reviewing Spoelstra's performance were titled Spoelstra, Riley's Choice. His own name was secondary to the fact that Riley chose him. After a year, in which he got Miami back to the playoffs. It's like the media was grading Riley's ability to choose a replacement more than considering Spoelstra an individual. But hey, consensus was Riley made a fine choice. Not perfect, but fine. The following season, the Heat won a few more games, made the postseason again. Sure, they had another first round to exit, but they're moving in the right direction. Spoelstra's just fine. And, added bonus, after 2 seasons of acceptable coaching, Spoelstra was starting to poke his head out from under the Riley's Choice label. The Florida press highlighted and praised his penchant for pithy locker room phrases that set a tone, unified, and motivated the team. Maybe this Spoelstra guy was just who Miami needed. Oh, wait, shut the fuck up. What's all this? In the summer of 2010, Miami became the top contender for a championship. Or several championships. Overnight, everything changed, including opinions on Spoelstra. Actually, the coach isn't fine. He's a pale copy of Riley who tries too hard to be Riley, and actually, we hate his pretentious little pithy phrases. Who does he think he is? Pat Riley? This is a serious team now, and Spoelstra is too inexperienced. He'll kowtow to the big 3. And let's not forget, we have a legendary coach waiting in the wings. Spo, get out of his way. But while fans and the media turned on him, internally, Spoelstra had support. Riley was clear he wasn't going to coach again, and he firmly believed his protege was up for the task of leading superstars to glory. LeBron wanted Spoelstra, and Wade, who had been playing for Spoelstra for 2 years, unequivocally backed him. Spo wasn't going anywhere. One thing the media and the Heat organization could agree on, Spoelstra was in a tough spot. Anything less than an instant title was unacceptable. And perhaps thanks to a certain high-profile player's high-profile predictions.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Anything less than an instant dynasty was unacceptable. There were 2 outcomes for Spo, neither of them great. Fail to win, be considered incompetent. Win, be considered lucky. Let's meet Erik Spoelstra, the incompetent. When the star-studded Heat began the season a mediocre 5-4, the Spoelstra criticism poured in. Charles Barkley had a stopwatch counting down the seconds till Pat Riley took over. Fans started a website entitled firespo.com. By Thanksgiving, there were nearly 9,000 votes for the coach's ousting. And it kind of seemed like his critics, while aggressive, had some legs to stand on. Spoelstra took a while to land on a rotation. Then, on November 27th, with the team fighting to stay above 500, basically incapable of beating teams with winning records, this happened. Did LeBron James just bump his coach on live TV on purpose? The clip was analyzed under a powerful microscope, and I think we can say exaggerated a bit. His jacket didn't nearly come off. But I guess reporters could write like this because it was a conceivable situation. It was believable that LeBron would be upset enough to bump his coach really hard during a game. LeBron and Spo both said they didn't even notice it. It certainly wasn't on purpose. But intentional or not, the media concluded the bump spoke volumes. It was a symbol of the frustration in Miami. It was evidence of obliviousness, of a lack of relationship between Spo and his players. Now, 2 days later, an article broke in which unnamed sources revealed Spo and his players did have a relationship, just a terrible one. Players were sick of his simplistic offense, tired of him being hard on them and nitpicking because he clearly feared for his job. One source said even Spo's greatest champion, Pat Riley, had started to express some doubts. At the Heat's first media session after the story broke, nobody came to the coach's defense. LeBron did say, "I have Coach Spo's back," or whatever the case may be. This is who we have. Damning. Might as well have said, "This is who we have for now." Dwyane Wade, who just months ago said he 100% supported the coach, severed that tie. Wade was having a difficult early season, coming off a hamstring injury, and that likely was a big reason the Heat weren't winning. And sure, that's not Spoelstra's fault, but it also wasn't not his fault, you know? There was little sympathy for Spoelstra the incompetent. The media made fun of him. There was a sort of glee in the idea that he was probably getting fired. The joke here being Spoelstra has to beg LeBron to stay employed. The joke here, the young single Spoelstra will soon announce he's stepping away to spend more time with his family. I think these jokes are actually funnier when I explain them. But hey, look at that. Spoelstra wasn't fired. The Heat managed to get it together, and they made the finals after all. All right. Unfortunately, there wasn't much time for anyone to give Spoelstra much credit for the turnaround because the Heat lost the finals in humiliating fashion. In Elimination Game 6, they were completely flummoxed by a simple zone defense. And it was all Erik Spoelstra's fault. Everyone expected and wanted Pat Riley to step in and shove Spoelstra aside with more force than LeBron's bump. But it wasn't happening. Riley showed his support for his mentee in the most tangible way possible, a new contract. So Spoelstra was safe, for a very short amount of time. A year later, the young coach was again on the chopping block with his neck outstretched. In the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals, the Heat went up on the Celtics 2-0. That sounds nice. But then they lost 3 games in a row and faced elimination. That sounds less nice, especially when you hear what people were saying about Erik Spoelstra. He's in over his head, he has no authority, he couldn't organize a team meal, and what the hell, shouldn't it be easy to sit back and ride elite coattails to glory? Let's check in on firespo.com. Over 35,000 votes to dump him. Respected journalists predicted Spo's time was likely up, and Spo probably knew it. But hey, the Heat managed to hang on, make it to the finals, and then win them. All right, way to go. Everybody's happy. And now it's time to meet Erik Spoelstra, the lucky. Okay, so Spoelstra did get some credit after winning his first ring. He wasn't immediately called lucky. Then the following year was incredible. Spoelstra became the 8th coach in the history of the NBA to win back-to-back titles. And sure, he had some detractors, but he also got some acknowledgement and even praise. But in the years that followed, that credit was rescinded. In 2014, he lost in the finals. Okay, unfortunate. Then LeBron left, and the Heat were really bad. So bad that Spo's back-to-back titles didn't mean shit. Any coach would have success with that lineup. Spoelstra was just the lucky guy in a suit on LeBron's bench. The lucky stigma was even retroactively applied to his first few years in Miami, before they became a super team, when Spo was reportedly fine. In the seasons that followed, Bosh got sick, Wade aged, and the Heat were mediocre at best, confirming the sentiment that Spoelstra didn't earn his rings. Without a superstar, he wasn't sniffing the finals. But hold on, how good of a coach would he have to be to reach the finals without a superstar? Here's the Erik Spoelstra we recognize. Erik Spoelstra, the elite. In 2020, the Heat returned to the finals with 2 All-Stars, but no superstars, and a young supporting cast. And that group took LeBron and the Lakers to 6 games. Suddenly, it was cool to respect Erik Spoelstra. And actually, he might be one of the best coaches out there. 2 years later, yeah, he's officially one of the best coaches in the NBA ever. Past players spoke glowingly of Spoelstra, including the Big Three, doing their part to legitimize Spoelstra's role in the 12 and 13 titles, and making no mention of any tension or backstabbing or crappy starts. In 2023, the Heat made it back to the finals with a single All-Star, 9 undrafted players, and, here's the big part, they were the 8th seed. So, okay, that'll do it. That'll take him out of Riley's shadow. That'll make us forget firespo.com and the years of undercutting him. That'll make us supplant any previous version of Erik Spoelstra with the lasting one. Hey everybody, thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe, and if you'd like to watch more, we have options for that. If you'd like to watch less, I guess turn it off now. For Secret Base, I'm Clara Morris. Good night and good game.